Hey, welcome to the Cognizant Crone. Today we're on day 23 of 365. Wow, that's pretty cool that I've actually managed to do a video a day for this long. It's a big thing for me. So, yeah, did I say welcome to the Cognizant Crone? I don't know if I did or not. It's been a day. Got a lot done today. I was really active, but I don't know, maybe my brain's not engaging so much. Anyway, we're gonna run with it, kids. We're gonna run with it because that's what we do here. So yeah, today I was thinking earlier, like, I don't know what I want to talk about today because I'm like fly by the seat of my pants for the most part. And so I was thinking about spirituality and sort of the journey and what you go through as you sort of start your awakening. We'll call it that for lack of a better description. So I'll talk about my own experience to date. And I've talked about this in a couple of videos, but we're going to go there a little bit more. I might be rehashing some stuff, but whatever. It's going to happen in 365 days, right? We're going to have some crossover. So navigating your spiritual awakening. Here's what I will say about my experience. It was all over the place. It kind of was. So it was linear, but not at the same time. And I'll try to explain that. So I've mentioned before, so I'm bringing this up again, but my awakening like truly started end of 2012, beginning of 2013. And a little bit before that, but like full on, okay, I realize something's going on here, definitely 2013. And it was awesome. It was exciting. It was eye-opening. I was so interested in learning as much as I could. So I think that'll be one thing I will say about going through your spiritual awakening. Learn as much as you can. Be open to learning. Be teachable. I've mentioned that before too. And I think this will help you in more ways than one. I mean, as humans, we are supposed to be learning. That's why we're here. We're here to have the human experience. We're here to learn stuff and get on that journey of that spiritual evolution, right? From the time we incarnate until we croak, until we leave, right? And when you go at this subject and sub-subjects, like there's going to be like tangents all over the place, really be open to learning, really be curious, because I think you're going to get the most out of it. But there is a caveat to that, which would be sort of the second thing I would say is don't be rigid. And I guess I'm trying to think, like in my own journey, if I got to this point, I probably did. I don't consciously have an example of that, but I'll give you an example. So let's say, you start watching YouTube videos or you're reading books or whatever. Maybe you're going to meetups, seminars, whatever, and you're discovering all these spiritual teachers, advisors, gurus, whatever you want to call them, right? Because I mean, anyone, I could be one. You could call me your spiritual guru, right? Some lady on YouTube who's talking about spirituality. Like there's no certification, you know what I'm saying? And that's an important thing to remember, because if you start watching people and what they say resonates with you, then great, go with that. But take everything with a grain of salt. And I say this all the time. I say this about everything you see, all the videos you watch, the news, history, conversations with people, gossip, stories, whatever. Take everything with a grain of salt, because nobody really knows, right? That's why being curious and open to different things makes it a lot more fun, because it's almost like a choose your adventure kind of thing. Like you get to just look at things from different angles and different perspectives and go, I like the sound of that. So that's what I'm going with until maybe I learn something different and I might like that better. You know, you can always change your mind. You can always change your mind. That might be point number 3, but staying with point number 2 is don't feel so married to one doctrine, I guess, one viewpoint, even one teacher, right? Like any teacher who says, mine is the only truth and you need to listen to me and nobody else, like run. Seriously? Or keep watching them but go, yeah, I get it. I get where they're coming from. I'm not keen on that, but I still want to hear what they have to say, right? There might still be some valuable lessons and whatnot, but I think it's great to explore different teachers too, right? Different gurus, different YouTubers, or people on TikTok or Instagram, however you get your information, right? There is not just one way. There isn't just one way. So the more people you kind of watch and listen to and pursue and everything, I think you'll have a better experience. I think you'll have more fun. And so I can't remember what I said point 3 was going to be, but I'm just going to keep going anyway. So we'll just call this point 3 is you are allowed to change your mind, right? So if you're like, oh my God, this is what I think. I'm going to pick on flat earth. I know I love to pick on flat earth because it's an easy one. Talked about that in a video. Was it yesterday, day before? I don't know. Last couple days. Let's say you're like, you hear all this stuff about flat earth and you research and you follow people and you're like, you know what? That resonates with me. Totally makes sense. I'm in. That doesn't mean you have to believe the earth is flat until you die. You are allowed to change your mind. Because at the end of the day, there's only so much as humans that we know and can experience, right? We're in the pursuit of knowledge. We're in the pursuit of growth. We're in the pursuit of happiness and enlightenment and higher consciousness and all of this stuff, which is fabulous. It can really add to and enhance your human life, which is a beautiful thing. And I think everybody should at least dabble in it for a little bit. Try a couple of different things, right? But still, our knowledge is limited. There's only so much that we could truly say as this is it. And even then, I question. Like, I'm just going to touch on this for a minute. I might do a separate video on this topic because I think it's one that really needs some attention. Like this, and sort of comes from my upbringing-ish, right? Because I'm very open about how I was raised Catholic, right? So our book, our religious text was the Bible, right? The New Testament, well, Old and New Testament, but whatever. And as I went along my journey, like I denounced Catholicism, which is fine, right? I mean, there's still some great lessons there, like Apostles' Creed, thumbs up, it's so good. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I started thinking about where our teachings come from. Like I said, with us, it's the Bible, including the New Testament. And then there's Torah, Quran, the Old Testament, like all of these different books. There's the Emerald Tablet. There's all of these references, right? To where we came from, how we got here, who we should be worshiping, blah, blah, blah. A lot of it comes from the same or a very similar place. At the end of the day, it's a book written by a person or some people who have decided this is what it is, how they're going to present it. How do you know they're right? How do you know they're not lying? How do you know they're not total douche monkeys? You don't. You have the faith that they have been true and this is how it is and this is what it is. That's where religion comes from. It's like, I believe this. This is it. This is the truth for me. Fabulous if that works. But at the end of the day, like I would say this about history books too. I never liked history. I used to sleep in history class, grade 10. Mr. Warndall, he was awesome. And yeah, never like bothered me for falling asleep in history class. This is a true story. I got tons of stories like this. You'd laugh. It's so funny with me in history. I squeaked by with a 60, gifted child, but history, I'm like, how do we know this is right? even then, at 15, 16 years old, I'm like, how do we know this isn't bullshit? Like, seriously, right? There's two sides to every story. We're only get one side. What the fuck is that? So anyway, that's a whole other thing. So my point is that be open to learning more. Be open to what you think is the truth or what you believe. Be open to the fact that that could be wrong or maybe needs some tweaking. If you are open to learning, that is not going to shock or hurt or upset or trigger you as much as if you are so sure that your teaching and your belief, is the truth. You see what I'm saying? So that's a couple of things I would say about spiritual awakening in the beginning as you're going along, right? Okay, so the next thing is be prepared that there are going to be highs and lows, and that's just the way it is. There's like dark, I'll just throw out some terms and I'll do videos on this stuff too, like dark night of the soul and shadow work and everything. And even outside of that, like I went through waves. Like I said at the beginning, I was on a high learning all this stuff, and then as time went on, like I would like go down, and I've said this before, I'm open about it, I go down some deep, dark, ugly rabbit holes. And then that, like, I would sort of go down, and then I would be like, okay, use your discernment. What do you really think about this? And then I'd start going back up. And then it's like, you know what? Let go of all the expectations and bullshit and nonsense. And then you go back up again. And now I'm kind of plateauing again. Am I going to dive back down? Maybe. I don't know. But I think that the whole spiritual journey is meant to be that way. And I think that up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, I think that's just part of it, right? Maybe the up and down, you don't hit such low lows, but maybe you don't hit such high highs. Or maybe it's cyclical, and it'll be up and down, then really down, and then come up, and then it'll be really up, and it'll cycle up and down and really down. But I think that is mostly driven by what is going on globally, and depending on where you live and the situation you're in. There are so many factors that can contribute to that, right? Like I think about people who live in war-torn countries or have in the past. Like if any of you have lived in a country where you've had to experience war, like on the soil you are in, right? Maybe that's behind you and you'll never have to experience war again. But you went through that. So someone like me who has never experienced, I'm in Canada and, you know, born in whatever, 1970, right? So I never really experienced war here on Canadian soil. Never experienced that. Touch wood, I never do, right? But that could and probably would greatly affect what's going on with me spiritually. Now, I will say this. As you are growing spiritually and going along your journey, you are picking up tools and habits and things like that to help you when times are tough, right? So when you have those spiritual tools, right, those spiritual weapons to go, I can, no matter how bad it is, I have the ability to deal with and cope with whatever is going on, because I can embrace whatever spiritually I believe and the tools that I have. Maybe you can't get through it with flying colors. It'd be a hell of a lot better than if you didn't have those tools. Do you see what I mean? I hope this makes sense the way I say that. But still, my point is, big point is that it never ends, and it's always going to be up and down. It's not so linear, and I don't think you can always predict what's going to happen. Like I said, a lot of it has to do with what's going on globally, where you are locally, your friends, your family, your relationships, your marriage, whatever, your kids, your pets. All of these things at some point in time will probably challenge those spiritual beliefs that you have, right? Or challenge how in tune and zen and wonderful and lovely you feel because of this spiritual path that you're on. You're going to be challenged. You're going to be tested. You're going to be triggered. It's going to happen. But that's life. And that's part of being human. So it's trying to manage that spiritual journey with the, mundane day-to-day, hey, I'm here in the meat bag, right? In the meat suit kind of thing. So it's being able to manage both of them and not get so triggered or upset or whatever when life happens. You see, I think that speaks volumes. If you take those spiritual teachings and tools and bring them into the mundane every day, I think then every day becomes less mundane. So I think that's all I have to say about that for today. But yeah, I wanted to put that out there because I'm thinking, yeah, the spiritual path, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of all over the place. But there's so much fun and there's so much good in there that I've thoroughly enjoyed it, even when I've had some troubling and some dark times. I look back and go, you know what, man, I learned a lot. You take the lessons and move on. I think that's some of the best advice I could give. I would give that advice regardless in any facet of life, but especially as we go through this. So I'm going to leave it there. Day 23, all done. We will see you tomorrow for day 24. Bye.